Imagine walking into a room full of people, all working toward a common goal. Some are engaged, passionate, and excited to contribute. Others are merely going through the motions, checking off tasks and waiting for the day to end. What separates the two? Leadership. Great leaders do something different. They don't demand authority. They don't manipulate with rewards and punishments. Instead, they inspire. They create a sense of purpose so compelling that people willingly give their energy, time, and dedication. They don't just get people to work for them, they get people to believe in something bigger than themselves. The most inspiring leaders in history, the ones who change industries, challenge the status quo, and create movements, all share a common trait. They start with a clear sense of why. Most people know what they do, some know how they do it, but few truly understand why they do what they do. The why is the foundation of all great leadership. Think about the organizations and movements that have changed the world. They weren't driven by products, profits, or policies alone. They were led by people with a vision so powerful that others felt compelled to follow. These leaders didn't just offer solutions, they offered belief. They create something people wanted to be a part of, something bigger than a paycheck or a title. The difference between those who lead and those who simply manage is in their ability to communicate that purpose. Leaders don't just dictate tasks, they tell stories. They paint a picture of a future so clear, so exciting, that others can't help but want to be a part of it. When a leader stands before a group of people, whether it's a small team or an entire nation, they have a choice. They can issue commands, set quotas, and demand compliance, or they can inspire. Inspiration comes not from authority, but from authenticity. People don't follow because they have to, they follow because they want to. The best leaders create an environment of trust. Trust is the foundation of every great team, every successful organization, every thriving movement. Without trust, people protect themselves. They hold back, afraid of making mistakes, afraid of standing out. But when leaders create a culture of trust, people take risks, share ideas, and push boundaries. They give their best, not because they're forced to, but because they believe in the mission. But trust doesn't happen overnight. It's built through consistency, integrity, and genuine care for others. It's built when leaders put people first, when they listen, when they admit their own mistakes, when they make decisions not just for short-term gain, but for long-term impact. The leaders who inspire action don't need to have all the answers. They don't pretend to be perfect. What they do is create a space where others feel safe to step up, contribute, and grow. They create a vision that is so clear and compelling that people see themselves as a part of it. The world is filled with managers who instruct, oversee, and measure performance. But true leaders, the ones who change lives and industries, do something more profound. They create movements. They inspire people to believe in something. And when people believe, they act, not because they are told to, but because they are driven by purpose. True leadership isn't about issuing commands, it's about creating a compelling why that motivates people to follow willingly. Leaders don't just share instructions, they tell powerful stories that paint a picture of a future worth working toward. Without trust, people hold back. The best leaders create an environment where people feel safe to take risks, innovate, and contribute fully. The most inspiring leaders put their people first, making decisions that prioritize long-term growth over short-term gain. People don't rally behind strategies alone. They rally behind a cause, a purpose, and a leader who makes them feel like they are part of something bigger. Leadership is not about authority, titles, or positions. It's about something far deeper, something that moves people to action, not because they have to, but because they want to. The most effective leaders don't lead through control or force. They lead by inspiring others with a clear and compelling sense of purpose. Imagine two different workplaces. In one, employees clock in, do their assigned tasks, and count down the minutes until they can leave. They follow orders, meet expectations, and complete their work, but they are not engaged. In the other, people arrive energized, driven by something beyond a paycheck. They push boundaries, bring new ideas, and willingly go the extra mile. The difference? Leadership. Not leadership that demands results, but leadership that inspires action. When leaders focus only on authority, they may achieve compliance, but they will never achieve commitment. People may do what they are told, but they will do the bare minimum. They will not invest their full creativity, passion, or energy into the work because they do not feel connected to something meaningful. This is the key distinction between managers and leaders. Managers control tasks, leaders ignite purpose. The most powerful way to inspire is by starting with why. Every organization knows what they do, some understand how they do it, but very few leaders articulate why they do what they do. The why is what makes people care. It is what gives meaning to the work, turning a job into a mission. When leaders communicate a purpose that is bigger than themselves, people don't just work for a paycheck, they work for a cause. Think about the brands, organizations, and movements that people are drawn to. They do not build loyalty through transactions or incentives, they build it through belief. Customers don't just buy products, they buy into the vision behind them. Employees don't just work for salaries, they work for leaders who make them feel like they are contributing to something significant. A leader who operates only through authority may be feared, but fear is not a sustainable motivator. Fear forces people to comply temporarily, but it never builds true loyalty. The moment the pressure is lifted, motivation disappears. But a leader who inspires through purpose creates long-term engagement. People stay not because they have to, but because they believe in what they are doing. History is filled with leaders who had no official authority but inspired massive change. Think about the movements that shaped the world. The leaders who led them were not necessarily the ones with the most power, money, or control. They were the ones with the clearest purpose. They painted a vision of what the world could be, and people followed, not because they were ordered to, but because they believed. In business, the same principle applies. A company that operates solely for profits may see short-term success, but it will struggle to build long-term loyalty. Customers and employees will leave the moment a better offer comes along. But a company driven by purpose creates something far stronger: commitment. When people believe in why a company exists, they don't just buy products, they advocate for the brand. They don't just work jobs, they dedicate themselves to a shared mission. The best leaders understand that people are not motivated by rules, rewards, or punishments alone. They are motivated by meaning. When work feels meaningful, people give their best effort willingly. They become more innovative, more resilient, and more engaged. The leader's job is not just to tell people what to do, but to help them see why their work matters. Leadership is about service, not control. The best leaders focus on lifting others up, not elevating themselves. They listen, they support, and they empower. They create environments where people feel valued and heard. When people feel valued, they bring their best selves to the work. They go beyond expectations, not because they are told to, but because they feel invested in the mission. Leaders who inspire do not demand respect, they earn it. They earn it by staying true to their values, by leading with integrity, and by putting their people first. They understand that leadership is not about being in charge, it's about taking care of those in their charge. When people trust their leader, they are willing to take risks, step outside their comfort zones, and push themselves beyond what they thought possible. The challenge of leadership is not to get people to do what you want. It is to get them to want to do it. This requires clarity of purpose. It requires authenticity. People do not follow leaders because of their position. They follow because they believe in the mission that leader represents. The leaders who change lives, organizations, and industries are the ones who dare to inspire. They do not rely on authority alone. They do not manipulate or pressure. They lead by making people feel that they are part of something greater. When leaders communicate why they do what they do, they create movements. And when people believe, they take action, not out of obligation, but out of passion. Leadership is not about telling people what to do, it's about giving them a reason to do it. The greatest leaders in history, the ones who have sparked revolutions, built iconic companies, and changed the course of industries, all have one thing in common. They know how to communicate a vision so clearly that people feel compelled to follow. It's not their power that makes the difference, it's their ability to inspire through words, ideas, and beliefs. Most people in leadership positions focus on communicating tasks and objectives. They outline goals, set expectations, and assign responsibilities. While this may keep an organization running, it doesn't create movement. It doesn't ignite passion or drive people to go beyond what is required. True leadership goes beyond logistics. It taps into the deeper motivations that make people feel like they are part of something bigger than themselves. When a leader communicates a vision effectively, it does more than provide direction. It gives people purpose. It helps them see the impact of their work beyond the immediate task at hand. It transforms mundane activities into meaningful contributions. People don't just want to be productive, they want to feel that their efforts matter. They want to feel that their work is contributing to something important, something that makes a difference. This is why vision is so essential. A clearly communicated vision connects people to a cause, and when people feel connected, they give their best. Consider the companies that have built loyal followings, not just from their customers, but from their employees as well. They don't just sell products or services, they sell a belief. They make people feel something. They communicate why their work matters, and in doing so, they attract people who share their passion. The most successful leaders understand that people don't buy into products, they buy into purpose. They don't just follow instructions, they follow inspiration. Words have power. A leader's words shape the way people think, feel, and act. When a leader communicates with clarity, it removes confusion, it eliminates doubt, it gives people a sense of direction and confidence. But when a leader fails to communicate a compelling vision, people lose motivation. They may still complete their tasks, but they do so without energy or enthusiasm. Without a clear vision, people feel like they are simply working for the sake of working. And when that happens, they disengage. The difference between an average leader and a great leader often comes down to how well they articulate the future. The best leaders paint a picture of what's possible. They make people believe in a reality that doesn't yet exist. They don't just talk about what needs to be done today, they talk about where they are going and why it matters. They help people see themselves in that future, making them feel like they are part of something special. When people feel connected to a vision, they take ownership of their work. They don't wait to be told what to do next. They actively look for ways to contribute. They go beyond their job descriptions because they believe in what they are building. This level of engagement doesn't come from instructions, it comes from inspiration. And inspiration comes from a leader who knows how to communicate vision with clarity, passion, and conviction. Some leaders assume that their vision is obvious. They think that because they understand it, everyone else does too. But assuming people understand is a mistake. A vision must be communicated again and again. It must be reinforced through actions, decisions, and culture. It's not enough to share a vision once. It must become the foundation of how an organization operates. The best leaders repeat their message constantly, ensuring that no one ever loses sight of the bigger picture. It's not just about what leaders say, it's about how they say it. Great leaders don't just give facts and figures. They tell stories. They use emotion. They make people feel something. A dry list of goals won't inspire people to take action, but a compelling narrative will. Stories create connection. They make abstract ideas tangible. They make the future feel real. And when people can see, hear, and feel the future, they become invested in making it happen. There is a reason why people rally behind certain leaders, why they dedicate their lives to causes and organizations that inspire them. It's not because they are forced to, it's because they want to be part of something meaningful. A leader's ability to communicate vision effectively determines whether people feel like they are simply working a job or fulfilling a purpose. The stronger the vision, the stronger the commitment. The most inspiring leaders don't just talk about numbers, strategies, or deadlines. They talk about meaning. They make people believe that their work has a purpose beyond the immediate task. They communicate with clarity, passion, and authenticity. And when they do, people don't just follow, they believe. Trust is the foundation of every strong team, every successful organization, and every great movement. Without trust, nothing truly meaningful can be built. People might follow orders, complete tasks, and show up to work, but they will never fully invest themselves in the mission. Trust is what separates a group of individuals working together from a team that is deeply connected and committed to a shared purpose. Leadership is not about forcing people to comply. It's about creating an environment where they feel safe enough to contribute fully. When people trust their leader, they are willing to take risks, voice their opinions, and push boundaries. They know that if they fail, they will not be punished but supported. They know that their ideas matter, that their work has meaning, and that their leader has their best interests at heart. The problem is that trust cannot be demanded, it must be earned. Many leaders assume that because they have a title, people should automatically trust them. But trust doesn't come from authority, it comes from consistent actions over time. It is built when leaders follow through on their promises, when they admit their mistakes, and when they make decisions that put people before short-term gains. Trust is fragile. It takes time to build, but it can be lost in an instant. A single act of dishonesty, a single broken promise can undo months or even years of trust building. A workplace without trust is a place filled with fear. When people don't trust their leaders, they hold back. They avoid taking risks. They focus on protecting themselves rather than contributing to the organization's success. They do the minimum required because they don't feel safe enough to do more. In contrast, when people trust their leaders, they go all in. They are more creative, more innovative, and more willing to work through challenges. They don't just comply with rules, they actively engage in the mission. Trust is also a two-way street. Leaders must trust their people just as much as they want their people to trust them. Micromanagement is a sign of a lack of trust. When leaders feel the need to control every decision, it sends a message that they don't believe in their team's ability to handle responsibility. But when leaders empower their people, when they give them autonomy, responsibility, and ownership, they demonstrate trust. And in return, people rise to the challenge. They take pride in their work. They feel valued and respected, which makes them more committed to the organization's success. The best leaders understand that trust is not just about big decisions. It's about the small, everyday interactions. It's about how they communicate, how they listen, and how they show up for their people. It's in the way they acknowledge hard work, in the way they provide support when challenges arise, and in the way they lead with empathy. People can tell when a leader genuinely cares about them versus when they are just trying to extract more effort from them. Real trust comes from authenticity. When trust exists in an organization, people are more open with each other, they collaborate more effectively, they share ideas freely without fear of being judged, they support each other instead of competing against one another. This creates a culture where people are not afraid to ask for help, admit when they don't know something, or seek feedback to improve. In environments without trust, people hide their mistakes. They pretend to have all the answers. They work in silos, protecting themselves instead of working together. A lack of trust leads to disengagement. People don't feel motivated to give their best when they don't believe their leaders have their backs. They become more focused on protecting themselves than on contributing to a larger purpose. But in a culture of trust, people feel a sense of belonging. They are willing to be vulnerable, to put themselves out there, and to fully commit to the work they are doing. Building trust requires patience, consistency, and a genuine commitment to putting people first. It's about leading by example, being transparent, and proving through actions, not just words, that people are valued. It's about creating an environment where people feel safe to be themselves, to take risks, and to contribute in meaningful ways. When trust exists, people don't just work together, they thrive together. And when that happens, there are no limits to what a team can accomplish. Leadership is not about profits, numbers, or quarterly results. It is about people. The most successful and inspiring leaders understand that their primary responsibility is not to maximize revenue, but to take care of the people who drive the organization forward. When leaders prioritize people over profits, they create organizations that thrive, not just financially, but culturally, emotionally, and ethically. Many companies focus only on short-term gains, cutting costs, increasing efficiency, and pushing employees to meet higher targets. While this approach may generate immediate results, it often leads to burnout, dissatisfaction, and high turnover. Employees who feel like mere cogs in a machine will do the bare minimum required, not because they lack ability, but because they lack motivation. When people feel that they are just being used for profit, they disengage. They don't bring their creativity, their energy, or their full potential to work. The best leaders recognize that when they take care of their people, the people take care of the company. They understand that an engaged, motivated, and empowered workforce will naturally produce better results. They know that when employees feel valued, they are more likely to contribute new ideas, take initiative, and collaborate effectively. These leaders create cultures where people feel safe, supported, and inspired to do their best work. Taking care of people does not mean lowering expectations or avoiding difficult conversations. It does not mean sacrificing performance. It means creating an environment where people can succeed, where they have the tools, the resources, and the support they need to do great work. It means recognizing that people are not just workers. They are human beings with dreams, struggles, and ambitions. Leaders who invest in their people build stronger teams, more loyal employees, and a culture of trust that leads to long-term success. When leaders put profits above people, they make decisions based on short-term benefits rather than long-term sustainability. They cut corners, overwork employees, and focus only on numbers. They fail to see that people are the driving force behind every successful organization. Customers don't buy from companies, they buy from people. Teams don't succeed because of policies, they succeed because of the relationships, trust, and motivation that leaders cultivate. A leader's greatest responsibility is to create an environment where people feel like they belong. People don't stay in jobs because of salaries alone. They stay because they feel valued. They stay because they believe in the mission, in the leadership, and in the culture. The best leaders don't just manage people. They inspire them. They show appreciation. They listen. They make sure people know that their work matters, that they are not just a number, but a critical part of something bigger. The irony is that when leaders focus on people, profits naturally follow. Companies with strong cultures where employees feel engaged and valued consistently outperform those that treat people as expendable. Teams that trust their leaders work harder, solve problems faster, and deliver better results. When employees feel safe and empowered, they take initiative, they innovate, they bring their best selves to work every day, not because they are forced to, but because they want to. Leadership is about service. It's about putting the needs of others before personal gain. The greatest leaders understand that their job is not to take all the credit, but to lift others up. They take responsibility when things go wrong and give credit when things go right. They recognize that their success is not measured by how much they gain, but by how many people they help succeed. A leader's true impact is not seen in numbers on a spreadsheet, but in the lives they touch. People will always remember how a leader made them feel, whether they felt inspired, valued, and supported, or whether they felt used, overlooked, and unimportant. Leadership is not about standing at the top and looking down. It's about building others up so that everyone rises together. Those who put people first create teams, organizations, and cultures that do not just succeed but thrive. Movements are not built on strategies alone, they are built on belief. People do not rally behind a business plan, a financial projection, or a set of instructions. They rally behind a cause, a purpose, a leader who makes them feel like they are part of something bigger than themselves. Every great movement, every successful organization, and every inspiring leader has one thing in common. They create a sense of belonging. They don't just tell people what to do, they make them feel like they are part of a shared mission. People don't engage deeply when they are simply given tasks. They engage when they believe in why they are doing something. There is a difference between compliance and commitment. Compliance happens when people follow orders because they have to. Commitment happens when people take ownership because they want to. The difference between the two is belief. When people believe in what they are working toward, they don't need constant oversight. They don't need to be pushed. They take initiative. They push themselves. They inspire each other. The most successful organizations and movements in history were not driven by strategy alone. They were driven by a sense of purpose so powerful that people willingly dedicated their time, effort, and even their lives to the cause. Think about the civil rights movement, the fight for independence in various countries, or the companies that have changed entire industries. These were not led by people who simply had a plan. They were led by people who had a vision. They painted a picture of a better future and gave people a reason to fight for it. The same principle applies in business. A company that relies solely on marketing tactics or pricing strategies may win customers in the short term, but it will struggle to build lasting loyalty. Customers don't just buy products, they buy into brands that share their value. Employees don't just work for paychecks, they commit to companies that make them feel like their work has meaning. The most successful brands in the world are not just selling things, they are selling a belief. They stand for something, and the people who share that belief naturally gravitate toward them. Leaders who try to control people through policies and procedures will never achieve the same level of loyalty as those who inspire people through purpose. The strongest teams are not held together by rules, they are held together by a shared mission. When people truly believe in something, they don't need micromanagement. They will go beyond expectations, challenge the status quo, and push themselves to achieve things they never thought possible. Belief is contagious. When a leader genuinely believes in their mission, that belief spreads. People can tell when a leader is simply going through the motions versus when they are truly invested in what they are saying. Authenticity matters. The most influential leaders are not the ones who have the best sales pitch or the most polished presentations. They are the ones who communicate their message with such conviction that people feel it. They make others believe because they believe. A leader's ability to inspire is not about giving orders, it's about making people feel something. People don't commit to causes based on logic alone. They commit based on emotion. The most effective leaders don't just appeal to the mind, they appeal to the heart. They tell stories, paint pictures of what's possible, and create an emotional connection that makes people want to be part of the journey. Inspiring leaders also understand that belief is not imposed, it is cultivated. No one can be forced to believe in something. People come to belief on their own when they see a vision that resonates with them. This is why great leaders spend less time commanding and more time communicating. They share their passion, they repeat their message, they reinforce their vision every day until it becomes part of the organization's culture. Movements don't happen because people are told what to do. They happen because people feel compelled to act. They happen when individuals take ownership of a cause and make it their own. The leaders who spark movements don't try to control every detail. Instead, they create a sense of purpose so strong that people naturally step up and drive the mission forward. People want to be part of something meaningful. They want to feel like their efforts are contributing to something greater. A leader's job is not to simply direct people, it is to ignite belief. When belief is present, people do more than just participate. They dedicate themselves fully, and when that happens, there is no limit to what can be achieved. Leadership is not about authority, power, or control. It is about the ability to inspire action, to create belief, and to build a future that others want to be part of. The greatest leaders in history have never led by simply giving orders. They have led by giving people something to believe in. They have shown the world that leadership is not about managing numbers or processes. It is about leading people towards something greater than themselves. At the heart of every great movement, every successful organization, and every transformational leader is a deep sense of purpose. People do not commit to work, ideas, or causes because they have to. They commit because they want to. They commit because they see themselves as part of something meaningful, something that makes a difference. The best leaders do not demand loyalty. They earn it by showing people why their work matters. Trust is the foundation of leadership. Without trust, people may follow commands, but they will never fully invest themselves in the mission. Trust is not built through policies, procedures, or job titles. It is built through consistency, integrity, and genuine care for others. People follow leaders not because of their position, but because they believe in them. They believe that these leaders will stand by them, support them, and lead them with honesty and conviction. In a world where companies, organizations, and teams are constantly competing for attention, success does not come from having the best strategy or the most advanced technology. It comes from having the strongest culture, the most committed people, and a vision that unites everyone. When people feel connected to a purpose, when they feel valued and trusted, they give their best. They are not just employees or followers, they become believers, advocates, and drivers of change. A leader's most important job is to create an environment where people feel safe, empowered, and inspired. When people feel safe, they take risks, they innovate, they challenge the status quo. They work not out of fear, but out of passion. Leadership is about removing obstacles, giving people the freedom to think, and creating a culture where ideas, collaboration, and progress thrive. The strongest teams are not built on fear or rigid control. They are built on trust, respect, and shared belief. Great leadership is not about short-term success. It is about building something that lasts. Leaders who focus only on results may achieve quick wins, but they will never create lasting impact. True leadership is about building a legacy, a culture, a movement, or an organization that continues to inspire long after the leader is gone. The best leaders are not those who make themselves indispensable, but those who empower others to lead. They create leaders, not just followers. Movements do not happen because people are told what to do. They happen because people choose to be part of something. They happen when individuals take ownership of a vision and work together to bring it to life. The greatest leaders do not push people forward. They create such a compelling vision of the future that people pull themselves toward it. They communicate their purpose with such clarity and conviction that others feel it, believe it, and commit to it. Leadership is about service. It is about putting the needs of others before personal gain. It is about lifting people up, creating opportunities, and inspiring them to reach their full potential. The most impactful leaders understand that their job is not to seek power, but to empower others. They do not focus on taking credit, they focus on creating impact. People will always remember how a leader made them feel. They will remember whether they felt valued, trusted, and inspired, or whether they felt overlooked, unimportant, and used. Leadership is not about standing above others, but standing with them, guiding them, and believing in them. The best leaders lead not for themselves, but for the people they serve. The world does not need more managers, it needs more leaders who inspire action, who communicate vision, who build trust, and who put people first. It needs leaders who understand that success is not measured by titles or profits, but by the lives they impact and the change they create. The future belongs to those who dare to inspire, who choose to serve, and who lead not with authority, but with purpose.